All right, how's everybody doing today? I think I've got it together today. We'll see if I have it together or not. But once again, hello. I'm going to do a live underpainting today. This is a white canvas. I've marked out a few things here just to kind of get us started, just so I don't, fail. This is going to be what we're painting today. I can't see anything live yet, but I'm assuming that we are live, so I'm going to go ahead and get in there. That's kind of what I'm painting today. It's a photograph I took. It's of a clover and a flower. It's a very cool, like a square-leafed clover. Very neat. So we're going to do that. This is a 30 by 40 canvas right here, and I'm going to start with drawing. I've got a 4B pencil today that I'm using. Let me go over here real quick and check and see if we've got anything going live here yet or not. I don't really see anything, but I could be completely wrong. Let's see here. Hey, there we go. Okay. So it looks to me, this is 30. There we go. All right. So you might have heard some of the audio click on there for a second. All right. It looks like I got a fairly. Let me try to maybe angle this up a little bit, just a little bit, so I can see the top a little better. How's that? A little better? I think that looks a little better. Let me maybe just a tickle more. Right in there. Right. There. That's about as good as I'm going to get, I guess. All right. Well, I'm going to take this drawing. I'm going to hold it in my hand, and I'm going to kind of come over here. And I noticed that there were some basically big triangular shapes that I'm looking for. And one of the key ones was right here. So this is just kind of swoop up. I'm going to try to just do all that one stroke there. And then it kind of comes down and it's going to start curving. It's going to start in here and then curve back the other way, that way through there. Then this guy, I'm kind of taking some liberties with some of these to let them overlap a little bit more. Seems like in nature, a lot of times stuff just manages to hit what they call the tangents. And a friend of mine, Mark Harcher, definitely likes to make sure he points those out if he sees them. But that's a good thing. Mark's a good guy. He's a good artist too. But yeah, I'm trying to keep it simple, going by more or less what I see here, but I'm also trying to give it my own, my own turns and whatnot. Then here we got a piece coming up through here. Let's see, right in back of it though, there's a little dark piece that kind of comes right in here. Swoops in like that, and then this piece comes up, swoops around like that. So we got a big kind of a triangle shape now coming down underneath this leaf here. It's really not the same one curving in, but it still kind of continues a little bit with that dark shape right there. Then there's basically a piece that's going to come over the top like that, and then big piece down here that's going to kind of go like this, and they're kind of getting the underneath of that, kind of go like this and that. There we go. This is kind of swooping. That's a stem swooping down there. Okay, and then just near there in this corner, we've got a piece sweeping up like that, kind of like that. All right. Now, in back of all that, there's a great big piece swooping up, whoop, like that. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep those one stroke. One quick, bold, decisive stroke is much more effective than doing too many little ones. So you're working it too hard. Now there's another piece overlapping. This actually kind of comes down a little bit like that. And there's another piece kind of overlapping in back. Well, not really overlapping, but in back here. That's right there, a little piece sneaking in. Now we've got this big red. He's coming right on through here. It's kind of curving that way. I got to watch where I go with that one. All right. Now, I'm going to come up to this top corner, see where that is, and there's going to be a big, long, stripy shape coming in here. So there's going to be one curve that's going to kind of come right, and it's going to cut. Let's see, let's get the top of that one a little bit. There we are. And it's going to cut right through there, right in, around under here, and then there's going to be a piece comes up. It's going to cut out. So this piece is going to be pretty strong. Oop. Sorry, move the canvas a little bit, but that's all right. We're just going to have that come in there like that, and the same thing, and it's kind of splitting apart up here, and coming up a little higher and then down. All right, and then this piece in back, it's coming here, and it's got a big long shot like that, and then there's the stem in the middle. Kind of right there. I need to sharpen my pencil. That's about as much as I'm going to get out of one sharpening. If everybody can see everything all right. Hope everybody's doing all right today. It's a warm day outside, so I'm kind of glad to be inside doing this. Now, there's a little flower popping up over here, so I'm just going to give the indication of that flower. It's got a little stem coming up that kind of bubbles up like that. Comes down almost like a little lantern shape. I'm going to try to be very careful of keeping the little skinny stems on this when it comes time. There's another one in back. Let's see, here's another little bit of a leaf coming. And then there's another one in back kind of hiding behind it. And then that stem is kind of right here. It's kind of doing its same little bell shape kind of thing, and it's kind of swooping around this way. This one's coming around like that, kind of like that. And then this thing here in back is going to come in back, and then I see it bending hard down this way. Now there's a great big piece that's actually what's cutting this flower off right here. So I'm going to take the top of it and cut it over that way, and then I'm going to let it kind of come like that. And that's fine. That looks just fine to me. There's another leaf. Let's see, this leaf is splitting together there. This is now coming up like through here, and there's a leaf kind of curving down like that. There's a lot of complexity in this piece. I mean, you can kind of see it. You see, you know, there's a lot going on. But once we get to going, I mean, it's, you know, that's why we do an underpainting. Okay, so I'm just kind of stick to the dark areas and up towards the top here. We've got, I'm going to say this piece coming here, that's coming around, that's good. So there's a couple of flowers kind of cutting in front, and they're kind of splaying around like that. And there's another one coming in front right here, and it's kind of splaying like that. And then we got that little bell shape again here kind of thing, that's where the stem connects. There's one hiding in back. The stem kind of comes up underneath and comes down. So I'm going to kind of do it that way. And then we're going to kind of come like that. There's another one's hanging down behind. So we got a couple flowers popping up there. Now we're going to come over here. This big shape here, we're going to hit that next. So that's coming over here, and it's kind of once again like a big triangle kind of shape. And that one's pretty good. That's a pretty good one right there. Okay, so we'll keep to that. I have the piece coming out over here, and then another one coming out over here, and this one's kind of spinning around and coming in back, and then part of it's a little bit of a lip folding in front right there, just like that. Now I'm going to come over here. We're going to hit another flower in back here. He's doing his thing again. You got the bell shape kind of coming this way, so we'll kind of go like that, like up there. Another flower coming that way. There's one kind of cutting that one off a little bit, and it is a little foreshortened. So those are always fun to do, the foreshortened ones. They're kind of shorter and fatter. And we're going to lead into that center there. Now we got some stems coming through. Going to make sure they make sense. So there's one down here, coming off that guy. Then this guy's got one coming by it, and this one's going to come in through there. And then we've got one shooting off over here, and it's forming another flower right here. And you know, so we got some action going on over there. And then over here, this can just be kind of loose. Couple of prominent flowers back in here, a little lower. I'm going to see about where that is. I'm looking that it's about where the edge of this leaf is. It's just about the top of that flower here. So I'm just, well, let me sharpen my pencil again. I see it getting dull. Don't want to cut a hole into the canvas, dig it in. Okay, and once again, about like right about that edge of the flower, a little lower. We had one coming there, one kind of going at an angle. This kind of traipse off over here, and then this is going to come down. And there's that bell shape again a little bit. That guy's going to come like that. This guy's going to come down like that. That's going to be in back. Then we've got one in back here. It's that. And this piece in back. Here's the bell shape. There's a flower shooting off over this way. And another one coming up here. Coming through there. And we got that, okay. And once again, stem. Another stem. Okay. Looking good. Looking good. Alright, now, let's see. Now we're going to come down and try to get out of your way. And here's that big dark area. This is going to come together into a stem somewhere right, let's see. This is coming off right here. So that's coming down there, and this is coming down here. And then you've got this big one back here that's actually going to be coming in a curve like that. So you just got to kind of imagine it where it is. Imagine where it is, and there it is. And let's take that. That stem is actually kind of shooting back this way a little bit. Now there's another piece coming up here. And that one's kind of a little bit foreshortened. A little bit of the lip coming off across of it there. And then now we've got it cutting in back. We've got a little one back here. Well, let's get the stem down. We've got a little one back here. And then you got a pretty big one, and it's pretty and it's pretty square again. And I'm going to go like that. Come here. And these are going to come down to a point down here, and that stem's going to traipse off down there. Alright. That one's here. Now we've got some, this is foreshortened here, this piece here. So that piece is going to come off. Now this stem thing is going to come in front. So there's a little ball and some stems. These ones are going to be very critical to make sure they're just right. So I'm going to make sure I draw them just a little bit on the skinny side almost. Just to make sure I don't blow the shape of them basically. And this one's down a little lower. Let's do it right there. Okay, and then here's the bell down. Oop, once again, chilled the little graphite, so sharpen up again. And I don't mind if I'm dirtying up a little bit here, because remember, I'm going to paint this in. This is just a drawing underneath to get us going where we're going. I just wanted to kind of guide you along to the drawing a little bit. Alright. These kind of shape kind of like this a little bit, top there. This one's kind of hidden underneath a petal right there. It's kind of coming like that. Alright, now. Got a nice petal shooting down and over like that. One in back. Curling up nice. Got a big one coming up here, coming almost to a nice point. Coming over and down, and it's kind of swooping back like that. This one coming over, over like that, swooping back. Right there. Now there's a flower in back here. This one's got part of it underneath. That's part of it there. Foreshortened piece right here, and then there's a big piece coming right off here, and I'm going to make sure it kind of looks cool. Right, it's a little funky looking on the original thing. There's a little separation right here, so I'm going to go up and like that, and then this guy's going to come like that, and back, and then there's going to be, that guy's going to come all the way in, this guy's going to come all the way in, and there's one hanging in back here. It's coming like that. So that's where we've got, and then there's a little bit of the bell right there. Now they got a big shape coming here where this comes to a point, this comes to a point, this one comes over here and kind of cuts through, so you can see that back one there, and then there's just some other miscellaneous. Let's see here. This is going to be some. This is like a ball right here. Lumps around and comes like this, and there's something else coming off here. This leaf is underneath, so make sure that happens, and that's that. Got a piece coming off here, and then we've got some stems and things happening down here, not too much. Striations. Okay, now let's go finish up this bottom corner. Sharpen up my pencil one more time. And then we'll be done with the drawing. And when I'm going to take a little breather in between with the drawing here before I start to paint. And I'm going to go look at my comments, see if anybody's looking in on me, seeing if I'm still alive. And there you go. Woohoo! I got up and down too fast. If I pass out, don't mind me. Woo! I stood up too fast. Yeah, that happens. There's another one of those. I'm going to have some leaves coming over here. One right there. One down here. Stem. A piece coming up like that. More foreshorten that down there. There we go. Some other things. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so a lot of that's just whatever. Alrighty, so now I think the drawing looks pretty good. I think we're pretty much intact there. I did stand up a little bit too fast. Hi, Mama. But anyway, I'm liking the drawing. I think the drawing looks pretty good. There's the drawing. Here's the artwork. Let's see. Let me get it in a little closer. There's the photograph that I took in my front yard. It's a photograph I shot, and of course it's been cropped and sweetened up. I didn't really do much photoshopping. That was a nice clean shot. And any of that kind of minor stuff I do when I'm painting anyway. So today I'm going to be painting with some black house paint. Basically, it's a ultra cover from Rust-Oleum, and I've got some Winsor & Newton white acrylic. I've got a trusty jar of water, and I've got several brushes. Mostly I'm going to be using a flat today, and I think I'm probably going to be using this big flat right here, this big one. Let me see if I can get that up to the camera. Yeah, that's a nice big flat. It's not as chisel edged as it could be maybe, but that's okay because I'm going to be making I want big sharp strokes. Now I'm going to have to be concentrating on where my this is all about values, this next little bit. So we're going to be concentrating on the dark areas here. There's, like I said, big triangular dark areas in here, kind of scattered through here. That's going to make all this pop. I have to really watch what I'm doing right in here, because this is the key area right here. Right in this area, right over here. That's a key area, because the way that bright green comes popping over, and there's some beautiful color and whatnot, and this all pops off the background. Once again, we're going to work our way backward from the background to the foreground. So I'm going to start with a very dark background and all that. Meanwhile, I'm just going to take a little breather, take a drink, and I'm going to go check my comments, and I'll be right to you. Let me go over here. Let me see if we've got any comments at all. Looks like a couple people joined in. It looks like Shannon. Hey, Shannon. All right, very nice. And Mike Mosley, right on, right on. There we go. So, you can see the drawing there. I'm just going to, like I said, take a short breather here, and we're going to get ready to paint it here. And we're going to underpaint it in black today. And if I have to use some white, I will to gray it out. I'm probably not going to really use a lot of white paint. Okay, one more sip and I'll let my feet cool off. All right. Let me see if I can invite a couple people to watch here. Let's see. Invite my son, invite my daughter, invite my friend Patty, Jason, Jennifer, Mike, Sandy, and Kelly. There we go. We invited a few friends there. Join in. Few. Okay, so I did a number of invitations there, and we'll see who ends up joining in. All right. So now, we've done the basics of the drawing. Once again, I'll go back for you people that are coming in a little late. We're doing this one. Doing this guy right here. It's a photograph I took out in my yard. It's kind of clover. It's very square. I forget what it's called, but it's a kind of a square clover. It's very, very cool looking, very delicate. It has these beautiful little delicate flowers that pop up in there, light green and that very, very soft pink in there over those dark purples and almost blacks and stuff. They're just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I dig it. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a flat brush, like I said, a pretty big one, and I'm going to concentrate, like I said, on putting in some dark areas. It looks like this corner right here in my source photograph, this corner is the darkest area. So I'm going to cover that, excuse me, I'm going to cover that with mostly just straight paint right out the chute here. I'm barely going to put any water on my brush, just enough to kind of get it to happen a little bit, just to kind of get it to move, so it's not completely dry. And I don't want to start too thick, but I also don't want to start too thin. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make sure it's covering pretty good. There we go. Let's get some good strokes in here. And I'm going to kind of think like there's plants and stuff right here. So when I'm painting around, I'm going to kind of painting plant shapes already, kind of leaf shapes and stuff like that, rather than just going with a straight, just black fill like that. I don't know that I'll do much with that, but it doesn't hurt to start getting an idea of how you want to cut things in and whatnot, and trying to get just a general idea of shapes and things like that. I'm not going to worry about too much, but I do want to have little shapes of things in the background. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like I'm bringing in little leaf shapes and stuff like that. I'm using the negative and the positive both to kind of do some of that. And I can come in here and go back over some of it again. You need to hit some more paint, thicken it up a little bit. Now we can darken that corner in real good. And now I can go back in and try to get some, like I said, thinking leaves and shapes. And trying to make that look more or less like leaves in the background, things happening in the background, you know. I don't mind, it's a little too spear shape, so there we go. There we go, like that. You know, little shapes and stuff like that, so I can lighten that up with a lighter color or something. Now, there's some key areas here that I've got to really pay attention to. Right down in here, there's a very strong, kind of right, let's see, there's the green that's coming up this way, so this leaf is coming that, like that, so that's there. So I got to watch this right here, and I'm going to paint a nice, good, solid stroke there that's nice and clean. All right? Just want to have one, don't go back over it, just leave it. Doesn't matter if it's perfect. Now right here from the edge of this leaf, I got to watch it, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw that up. All right? So now I've got that leaf shape right there. I don't want to just have it cut into nothing, so I'm going to give kind of a shape of something coming through there and then darken it in. Now there's obviously another flower coming in over here, and I didn't do this exactly like the photograph, but that's all right. It's my painting, so I'm just trying to get I'm using that as a good reference, and it's got, as long as I keep the principal lighting and the basic composition without straying too far. I gotta watch that right there where those little, that's a big brush, but you can cut it in. Watch what you're doing. There you go. This line here, it's got to be almost continuous. So let's bring that line to the bottom down and bring it down here. And I'm going to have to make that match up over here a little better. Now remember, we're going to cut in. This is just an underpainting. We don't have to be perfect on it. But it is good to try to get as close as you can to a decent job. Now, I see another tip of something right here that I didn't draw in. So I'm just going to kind of draw that tip right there. I'm going to have it float back, and then I'm going to draw on the top edge of this, or paint in the top edge of that. I don't mind that I cut a little tip in there, that's fine, it looks natural. And if I kind of cut these things in a little uneven, that's okay, it looks like something's in back. Once again though, it is an underpainting, so I'm not going to go too crazy with it. Now, as I sweep my way across, there's some more darks that are kind of coming right here in the edge of this, from the bottom of that leaf right there, kind of coming up and fading out right there. And let me just kind of, like I said again, I'm just going to kind of sweep in some shapes, and I don't want to go too detailed with this. I want to kind of just give it a shape of something else happening over here, like that. And as the paint starts coming off my brush and getting thinner, and I'm painting a lot lighter, I can come in here and kind of get some supplemental, tones and values here without having to really hit the paint. I can, the paint's coming off the brush naturally. So, and I'm letting it thin down, so it's not going to be as dark and black, which is fine. It's not all of it's black. Some it still cuts in fairly sharp like that, and then maybe right here I can cut it in just a little sharper, maybe right there. Pull it up. There we go. And then come this way, and then we can just kind of. So you can see some shapes of plants and stuff now starting to work their way in. Now again, there's a big area, dark right here. It's a big area, and there's a flower cutting right there. So I'm going to kind of come over here. Now this is almost one big leaf, and it's got big striations on it. So I'm going to kind of loosen up my brush, put some more water on it, put some paint and some water on it. Kind of loosen her up, even though it's a dark area. And the striations are kind of coming like this. So I'm going to pull my paint that way and try to imitate, and then as it goes, it's kind of coming up that way once again, and alternate them once in a while. Give me don't do them all exactly the same. And do that just to try to try to, you know, give it a little bit of something. And I can come over here and just pick up the paint that's already there, and I can kind of keep pulling it from the back here where it gets darker and slowly work it in. And you can do that, and that's just kind of blend it into that dark right there. Just blend it in, make sure I'm marking that there's a hard edges right here. And that's it. And that leaf now is almost in. Now it's can't just come to a total dark point there, and then there's some stuff coming off the edge there. So that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to get that right there. Beautiful. So now that top is looking pretty good all the way across. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks pretty good. So now we're going to start working our way down. And hit a little water on that a little bit again. Now, this area in here, it's not nearly as dark, so I'm going to actually take some water and I'm going to thin my brush, the paint out of my brush a bit. And just kind of, I don't want to water the living snot of it because I don't want it to drip. Last time I did that, it dripped all over the place, and I got too frisky with it, so I don't want to do that. Now, I'm going to say there's a stem running right in here, right there, and I got to watch that I stop right there on that leaf. There it is. And bring it on through, and that's fine. Okay, now, let me water that up a little bit more. And I'm actually going to dab some of it off take some of the paint off with a little bit of I took a little bit of the paint off with a little teeny piece of paper towel. I am conserving my paper towels. All right. And I'm going to use that for this area back here as well. And I'm just going to kind of lightly just pull it in. Long strokes. Don't want it to look too choppy. Same thing here. And I can pull it a little harder from this edge here. Watch it there, and pull it a little harder from that edge there. Now, when I'm painting this stuff in all the real way, with the oils later, of course I'm going to disregard some of that white because I'm going to get up over it. You don't want to spend all day on the underpainting, you know what I mean? But it is a good idea to try to be somewhat accurate if you can. You know, try to watch your edges a little bit there. And there we go. It didn't hurt to do that. And then once again, you got to watch where that edge stops, which is down here along the edge of the next leaf right there. Okay, so now we're kind of working in some shapes to the leaves there. I'm probably not even going to barely even paint in any of this white here because it really needs to be where it is. This guy, I'm going to have that. Let's see, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to have this kind of, see, he's going to pull from further down, so I'm going to have that kind of pull that way. There we go. Right there. And once again, here's where that other one was. Let's kind of pull this color in here. And watch that leaf. Cut over it a little bit, but that's all right. Now, since this leaf is a little darker, I'm not going to, this is a little lighter in the back, so I don't mind if I go over that a little bit. And this is a little lighter in the back here, too, than this is. So I don't mind if I go over it, it'll just look smoother. All that. So I might as well just take a big stroke right like that. And just smooth that in. There we go. And that don't look like much. But as we go down, you know, things shape up. All right, now this, we've got edge of this leaf, and then it's we're kind of tucking down. We got a kind of an edge that cuts right like this. And once again, I got to watch those stems because they're nice and bright. So when I paint the oil in, I don't want to have that dark paint in back. I want to have something lighter than that. There we go. And there's a couple really dark, there's a couple of good darks in there, right here towards the bottom. So I don't mind sweeping in a little bit more dark paint right there. And then I'm going to kind of go like that again. And up in. And there you go. Alright, now this is kind of, there's a edge of this leaf coming down through here. And there's a lot of just whatever going on in here. Just kind of a mix of stuff kind of happening here. And then there's a fairly good clean cut right there. All right, looking pretty good. And this is, once again, I can sweep that in this way. Oops, I almost killed my white there. But pay attention, we got to pay attention all the time. And even I will not pay attention once in a while. I get a little frisky. That's right. This leaf under here now, I'm going to kind of, it's going to be a different color than that. So I'm just going to kind of let it sweep in here. This, again, it's a fairly darker color here. This is more light in back. It's going to be a red back here. So I don't mind if I accidentally brush over that leaf a little bit, because it's going to be darker anyway. And let's kind of give it some shape. Watch this area that needs to be light. And then once again, I'm going to go into, oops, that was some of the, I'm sorry, that was a piece of the flower. There's a leaf, blade of the flower there. And if you mess up like that, if you do it quickly, you can come over, if you're fast, you can come over and fix that. You got to do it quick, because that stuff dries fast. But there we go. Got most of it back. At least for the underpainting, I know where it is. All right. Now, I'm going to move on to keep moving my way forward. Next, let's see. We've got some of the background in here I need to hit. So let's once again do a little lighter mix of color on there. I don't want to go too crazy. Back and back here. And just kind of, let's see. You just got to kind of a little of this, a little of that. So I'm just going to kind of go work my way basically around the leaves, around where I've got stuff shaped already. And I'm just going to kind of work in those shapes a bit. That's it. And I'm not going to worry about being too, I want to make sure that the white is the brightest. So while I'm doing working these values, so I remember where I'm at. And then we're going to go like that. We're just going to kind of work around where I drew and work what's in back of it a little bit. And some of those areas now are going to be a little bit dark where stuff is creeping through. So let's say I got some darkness creeping through here, so I can throw a little bit right to that corner. And then maybe continue it on down over to here. Let that work in a little bit. And once again, I can just kind of lighten my brush and just fade that off a little bit as I go. And this is going to be right there. And we got to watch that there's a top to this. Let's see here. So I get up under there, and I got to watch that there's a, I mean, I said a top, but I mean a bottom to this leaf right here. So I'm going to watch that. This is going to come in, and I got to watch the bottom of this flower leaf. Oh, that can now cut in a little bit like that. And then this is going to be a darker, a little bit darker, and I'll let the leaf kind of puff out here a little bit like that. Have it come back in so it makes kind of sense. I'm going to do that and that. I got a nice, clean, dark triangle right there, kind of in the middle, and that's going to help sell all those triangle shapes. It's not exactly what's in the photograph either, but that's, you know, what I'm using right now. All right, now this leaf back here and section back in here. So this has got to be further back. So once again, I'm going to put darker color. I'm going to watch that edge here. Watch that edge right there. Like I said, if I'm a little off, I'm not going to be too worried about it. Now, while I've got the good darks and I've got a good covering on the top, now I'm going to kind of go for it a little bit more and come in down in this area and try to work some areas down in here so we can see things shaping up on the bottom here a little bit. I'm going to go to the very background of stuff and cut in some good darks right in what I would consider the area where there's the least amount of light popping through. Kind of right there, the spot, and then along the edge of this leaf right here, and then along the edge of this leaf and coming in, and that whole corner there. Now once again, I can kind of pretend there's another leaf shape maybe coming this way like that, something like that, you know, and then just kind of come in and fill in this area, just fill it in. And as long as those shapes are kind of being paid attention to a little bit, I can just kind of be rough with it here, and they'll still be there when I'm done. You'll kind of see that there's a shape of a leaf back there or something. But that way, at least, it's not just one big black blob, and you got something happening. Now, let's see. There's another fairly dark area right here. And this one I gotta watch because it kind of does its little curvy thing like that a little bit. And I gotta watch that I don't, because this tip kind of gets darker and it's gonna compete if I have it too much there. So I'm gonna do that. Now this, let's see. So we've got some things going on around the side here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to thin that paint back out. I'm going to thin it out, and then I'm going to come in from this dark top here. And I'm going to work, and then there's some striations in between. So I'm going to try to work where those striations are, like that. And that's going to come up under here and over there. And I'm going to pull them from the bottom to match up there. There we go. Now we got a kind of a leaf underneath there. It's darker at the top, so let me grab a little bit more of this paint, just kind of feather it down, kind of get that shadow kicking from the top down with the leaf. Now it's going to be bending and the light's going to be picking up more on it. There we go. So that's pretty good. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. There's another leaf shape, actually a fairly dark leaf shape coming up here. Kind of cutting in front here, so I'm going to kind of do that, and it kind of fades off. So I'm going to go like that. I'll let it fade off over here. Okay. Do its thing. Now all this here, I'm just going to kind of just feather that in, and just kind of work in some color. And I don't really care which way my brush goes in this particular case. It can be dirty, whatever. It's more about values right here that I'm trying to work something in back there. And it's fairly dark from the bottom up, so I'm going to kind of go from the bottom up, and I'm just going to kind of rough it. Scroll my brush around, watch that tip a little bit there. And once again, from this bottom, it's going to be a little darker. And then we'll work that brush around there. And then let's get some dark back in here a little bit again. Just to separate off a few things. There we go. All right. Now, let's see what we got next, folks. Okay. Looking pretty good, pretty good. I'm going to grab some dark some more dark, straight, black, dark, thick paint. And I'm going to come back in here, back down to the bottom. On this piece right here, shoots like that. Disappears back up in there. And I see it coming back off right over there. And it's pretty dark. But even it, let's see. So there's a stem that comes up right there, and even though the stem is, it doesn't follow exactly because it's hidden in back. That's really where it is. And then some dark comes off the edge here, like that, and then we're going to have more dark off the edge here, but not as dark. So let me hit some more black paint, kind of come in here one more time and hit it a little darker right there, a little darker right there. Some darker at the top, and this is going to kind of feather off this way. It's going to feather off that way, and now we're just going to kind of just giving it the shape, the way the blade goes. That's the way I'm going with the strokes. Kind of that way, if I have them off a little bit, it's still going to sell. Right. If I have to hit a few on the side of the brush just to thicken it up, there we go. Okay. That's going to connect down there underneath. It's going to like that, but it's in the back. Okay, so that's nice. That works for me. Now, there's a good dark area right here. I'm trying to concentrate on where the real darks are. There's a real good dark right there, real strong, real clean, right there. And it should be right there because that's right where the key area of these stems is, and it's almost all dark. I've got to watch where this leaf right here kind of cuts in. It cuts in here, and it kind of cuts this way. And I'm going to watch those that I don't kill them. There we go. Right there. Okay. Almost wiped that part right there, but that's okay. I needed to reference something there, and you can't be perfect. All right. Get a little quiet when I'm concentrating there. And that looks pretty good. Then I'm going to speckle that up a little bit. Just to kind of give it a something going on there. There we are. That's pretty good. And then there's an area right in back of the bottom of these leaves here that's a nice dark area too. So I've got to really watch the front and the back, which side on the brush, where it's ending up, where it's starting and stopping on both sides of the brush. I've got to watch that. There we go. There we go. That's a little better. It's still a little weak in here, but that's all right. I can get that stem and indicate that stem right there. Right there, a little bit. There we go. At least I know where it is. Now, there's a center coming off there. Now, let me get some lighter colors. Well, lighter when I'm lighter in the fact that it's not pure black. And then there's a darker area right here, and this tip is a little darker. So I'm going to kind of come right here, kind of darken that tip a little bit there, and then it kind of fades off, and it's stroking down this way. So once again, I'm going to watch it. That's a pretty good strong color there. So I don't want it to necessarily be pure black, but I do want it to be pretty dark. And then watch the white of that leaf right there. Flower petal, I should say petal rather than leaf. This one's a little lighter. It still comes in. Let's kind of, maybe that's not quite dark enough. So let's grab the bottom. There we go. I can kind of pull him this way. Make him come to life a little bit. That guy's coming this way, and he's going to cut right in there. I like that. Alright. Now, let's keep going. I keep saying, now. Okay, I keep catching myself saying that. But that's okay. I'm not a professional at this. I'm just trying, as far as the commentary, I'm trying my best. I see a leaf coming down through here, so let me bring that. And then there's all kinds of stuff just happening in here. This is just, it's just a lot of whatever. So I'm just going to kind of go like that, go from one edge here and there, and then kind of think plant, you know, a little bit as I go down. And I'm not going to worry about too much detail in there or being too efficient. I just want to kind of give an indication that there's something going on there. All right, now let's try to get this guy's again a little darker. So let's bring him in a little bit here so I can see that dark edge right there. He's in the back, there we go. And then the tip of this guy again is coming down pretty dark. Kind of peel it off like that. Kind of over the top, there we go. Now this guy down here, he also has a dark edge that's coming in right over here a little bit. Curving. Let's go right up over that. That's all right. That's fine. It's kind of coming to a tip there. And once again, the stripes are kind of going down this way. So we got some of that, some of this. All right. Now we're going to keep going. We're going for the big boy back here. Now, this is not as bright. I mean, not as dark as the rest of it, so I'm going to be watching it. Yeah, that's probably about right there. That's about right. I don't want it too dark. That's a big leaf and it's strong, so I want to try to get big long strokes if I can. But because I'm worried about cutting in on it over here, I got to watch it a little bit. So let me come in here now. Here and thinking the way the strokes are going. have never taken any art classes, so I don't know that I'm doing anything right, wrong, whatever. This is my way of doing it, and I'm just sharing that with you. Mostly it's about watching what you're doing, which way the brush is going, what kind of brush you're using, how much of a value you have on the brush, whether it's light, dark, or in the middle somewhere. And so there you go. So now you're starting to see things shaping up a little bit. This dark here comes in good here, so I'm just going to go ahead and clean that a little bit. Just kind of clean up some of these areas that kind of are in between, kind of look a little fudgy. Come in there, just going to kind of let it get darker as it goes down. There we go. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's continue on. All right, I've got a nice leaf here, but there's a nice dark coming off down here and right up in here. Get a little more dark paint on there. In there. Oop, there we go. That's a little darker. There we go. That's going to come up in there and in there. And then once again, I can make a lot of like shapes of stuff. And then I'm going to lighten that up where it's not too pitch black. There we go. Now this guy here has a very interesting kind of other shape right there that's kind of coming in. It's very interesting. And there's a stem there. So I'm going to watch that. But that's going to be really cool. And it's a nice color that's mixed in. And then over here, once again, it's got kind of a little color coming, sweeping in. It's darker. It kind of shapes up like that. And there's another piece that comes off over this way. Like that. This thing goes like that. And this piece maybe comes in from the edge. And like that a little bit now. That middle where it's not pure white. Alright. There we go. Setting that one in back. Now I've got to put one slightly in back of that one. The edge of this one's got to be in back, so I've got to give it a good dark edge right there. Okay? And then the edge of this is kind of lighter, so I'm going to kind of do all the darkness coming from this corner. Now I'm going to sweep it up. And that leaf's kind of going like this. Oops. I'm going to go like that and up into there. I'm going to watch the edge of that flower right there. And that's kind of sweeping on up into there a bit. And then this, that's one. And then this flower here, this one, is coming down and there's an edge right there. So let me get a good dark edge right there so you can see that there's difference between the two. That's not necessarily good enough. Let's do it. There we go. That's more like that. And this guy kind of sweeps down in here. Got to watch some of this. That edge is dark. This can kind of just watch. It's going to be mostly dark. That's that foreshortened leaf here. And it's got kind of a dark area in the middle here. It's not going to be perfectly white. And then this kind of sweeps this way. I see a little shape going off that way, this way. And we're going to watch that bright stem right back down here. And once again, let's work that up in. All right. Now, it's a pretty ambitious to be trying to paint this live because it is a fairly complicated piece, but I don't mind trying it. I'm going to try to give it my all. I always do. And now I'm going for some little stemmy shapes and things like that down here, shapes of other plants underneath. And like I said, I'm not going to be as concerned as all that. I'm not going to be too concerned. Get it out of your mouth there, Paul. About how perfect any of this is, because this is all just kind of underpainting, just indications of things. So I'm not terribly worried about it. If I can get, the feeling of shapes and stuff in there, that's fine. I see this particular leaf here is coming back around, so it's probably going to be dark there, and then this is actually coming back this way. And we've got another leaf kind of popping right there, so let me do that. So we got that happening. Now it's kind of get a stem in the middle and it's kind of fudge this down. It's got some shapes and some colors. And then once again, it's kind of coming like that. So I'm going to go with the shapes that it's got. And let's try to, it's pretty dark here at the top. So let's give it another little shot up here. Darken all that in. Okay. And come over here to this. And that corner is probably mostly pretty dark. At least pretty dark there. It's coming over. There we go. All right, now we're going to kind of sweep our way across over here. Now we've got some more flowers and whatnot up in here. So let's cut in another couple little hard colors right there. Maybe some right down along this edge. And then of course right by these stems I want that again to be high contrast. So I'm going to kind of pull in some dark right there. And then indicating that again there's a shape coming down. Something else coming down over here and maybe doing something right there. And it doesn't really matter, we'll just kind of splay it up there. Okay. Now this is the inside of these leaves, so there's going to be some inside of the petal that's coming right here. So it's going to be dark from here to make it kind of sit in back. So I'm going to pull it from the bottom there and then I'm going to pull it up and even it up on top. It's fairly dark, but particularly dark at the bottom. That. And this one not as much. This one's got dark up here at the top and then the light's coming in on this one underneath. So we're going to let that light up a little bit down here. And this edge, make sure you keep a little edge right there where it's kind of peeling in front. And then that can be, that doesn't need that edge. So let's pull that way. There we go. So now we got those two petals coming in back a little bit. Now this next one's going to be even lighter. This one in here is not going to be nearly as dark as the rest of them. And it's hitting right by this petal here. And there's another sweep right coming out like that. And then there's some things coming down from the top here. There's a T-shape coming down like that. Right here and there. Okay, now let me get a bunch of water. And I'm going to really kind of watercolor this one up a little bit. Just kind of a lot of water. Not really using much paint. Just coming in here, we're just using that water to come across and just fill in all that area. Just real quick. Gotta watch that petal right there, but that's alright, I can cut it off there. That's right. It happens when you get enthusiastic. When you love what you do, sometimes you get a little carried away. That's all there is to it. Edge right there. Let's try to clean that up a little bit. Edge, come around. Pull all this stuff down while it's still wet a little bit. That way it looks a little bit more like it should. And let's come in here. Let's get a little bit of a darker color. This is where the stem meets right here. So a little bit right there. And then this is where the edge of the leaf is. Edge of the leaves. And this is going to be a little stronger in value right here. A little darker. And nice and clean. Just a little bit more paint on there. There we go. There we go. Now we're going to take it and darken it up just a little bit more, just so this whole leaf sits in back. A little, it's not quite enough, is it? So this whole leaf sits in back a little bit. There we go. Try not to kill any of that. There we go. All right. Let's keep moving on. Got a dark area right here where the stuff's going to be kind of sticking in front. There you go, right there. Let's look here. Well, we've got another dark somewhere in here. Then we got a dark right along the stem and right there, and then up under this leaf and along the edge of that leaf. There's another stem. There's a bunch of stuff happening right here. So we can just do that. Come over here. And now with all this, I'm not going to get as crazy with it. I'm just going to kind of come through with whatever paint I've got on my brush and just work it in a little bit here. And then just work it across where there's not anything too bright here. And in here too, right up next to that stem. There we go. And all that. And this guy here now, he's going to come up like that a little bit. And it's also going to come here. It's a little lighter in there. So there you go, some of that. Now let's come over here, and there's some good strong dark colors in here actually. Some strong dark petals, which are kind of cool. So let's do that. Let's get that petal to the edge there. There we are. And this one not so much. It's going to peel off from being dark there. And this one's going to come in dark here. There we are. And all this can just kind of float up like that. We got a good strong stem. We got another stem back here. Got some things happening. Got some other petal shapes and whatnot. And now there's a little area in the corner here, right in this area where we've got some more detail with some of the shapes of things. I've got a lot of gook all over my brush, but that's all right, because right now I'm just trying to, I don't want it to be pure dark right here. I want it to be mostly dark, but not all the way. And there's some of it here and there, but I'm trying to make it so there's a little bit of variety there. Come over here, we can indicate some darkness back in here now again. This can fudge back so it's not sitting out front like the rest of the petals, so to speak. We can kind of do that same thing again here, come and get some shapes of what would be petals and would be things. That is a petal there. And we kind of come in, and so we're going to come in and just kind of work this area. I'm not going to worry about too much detail. Just thinking petals, thinking leaf petals, stems, and you know, leaf blades. Flower petals, did I say leaf petals? Flower petals, all that. So, now, we're getting pretty close to all the way across here. Once again, there's a good, strong, dark area, given a high contrast right in here. Watch those little bell shapes, make sure it makes sense by bringing some other darks in that same kind of vein right there, right in that same area. Now, let's make it even darker right there just for fun. Right there, that's fine. Now, let's kind of go over here. Let's see what we've got. We've got this big petal. So this is all in the background right here. All this. All that. There's petals and petal shapes and stuff back in here, but I'm not going to worry about too much of that. Now just come in here. This is not really, this is a petal of a leaf back here. So let's kind of just do, and then get that petal back here that will kind of give them a shape of a petal there. I mean a blade, leaf blade. And then we'll kind of give that leaf blade shape there a little bit too. So he's right back in here. There we go. Now we've got a nice shape, dark shape down in here. It's coming up like that. This guy also right there. Right here to the middle where the stem is, right here to the middle where the stem is. Now we can kind of pull this around where it's a little lighter. Pull this around where it's a little lighter. And this is a little squared off, so I don't mind if I kind of square it off a little bit like that. And push that in. Put some of this in because this is a little darker. Right in here. That's part of what's going on up top right there. So let's blend that in right to there a little bit. Value-wise, this is also slightly in back. Let's pull that there. All right. Yeah, it's a little dirty, but that's okay. I'm looking at the values. I'm looking at the way things are shaping up, and it's looking pretty good, I think. All right, let me take a little 5-second break here, take a drink, and see if anybody else has commented, who's watching. Well, looky here. We've got a whole bunch of people watching, at least a little bit. It's like Arthur. Hi, Arthur. Bobby, hey, Stan, Jenny. Jenny, it's all right if I still call you Jenny, right, Jennifer? Kim, Yeah, long time no see. Mark Eller, right on. I'm ready for some interesting quotes and quips from Mark Eller with his sharp wits. Can't be denied. You don't deny me now, Mark. All right, now let's kind of come in this area right here. There's a little dark spot right there, like a little stem coming up in here maybe. So let's kind of bring him right there and bring him on around in there. Let's kind of make sure we've got a nice dark right there. It's coming up and that doesn't cut into this too much. There we go. And this area here is mostly, once again, just fudgy. This over here now, that's the one of the very last of those big petals. And I'm going to go with a little bit more of this lighter color right here and pull it down like that. There we go. And kind of come down in here. I'm going to pull that right there. So now, that's pretty good. There's some, once again, some shapes and blade shapes and things like that going on all in here. But I'm not going to get too crazy with it. I'm just going to kind of come in here and fudge around, fiddle around right there. As long as I've got something kind of, I just want to work the value. I don't want that all white right there because it's not. It's not white. There's not really any whites down in there at all. So I'm going to come in here and just mushing my brush around. Just going to kind of kill all the area now that is not pure white or really bright. And that's a lot of it. So I'm going to come in. I'm just going to go to areas that I just know that that's not what's happening. Come on there. Go in here. Just going to kill a lot of that area. Kill a lot of that. Get some paint on the brush. Get some water on the brush. Over here, don't be afraid. Come in here. Darken some of these areas up. That's fine. A leaf blade, leave the shape. I don't care. It's all good. Now come on in here. There's no white down here, like I said. There's no white down there. No white. There we go. Back on here. Got some leaf shapes in there. Stuff going on. Okay. Over in this corner here, these once again, now I haven't finished these here. These, that's got a kind of a little piece cutting off right there and it's stopping at the stem right there. And then we've got another little bit of a kind of a colorization right there going on there, and I'm just going to kind of bring that like that. Bring that on across. That's it. Once again, I'm going to come in. Now we're closing in pretty much on the end here. They're just kind of going in now and just trying to fill in some areas a little bit with some gray, just to kind of get my values figured out. I'm going to go in with some darker black here in just a second, just to pop a few areas out and make sure that I've got everything straightened pretty good. I don't want, oops, I almost killed a white spot there, but that's all right. Sometimes you just go a little fast, it's all right. Now that's looking pretty close to what I want. Now it's time to go grab some pure blacks and go pop a few areas out that I think really need popping. Right here, looks like I could get right in there and just really bring some pop right to there and to there, just by giving a little darker tone right there. And I'm down in here too a little bit with this, where that's coming over. It's more pure black. Some of this top right here could be a little more pure black. This corner could come in and I could darken it up a little bit just by kind of fudging in some color there. There's some paint a little bit. It's kind of like this corner right here can be a little darker. That whole area right here might be a little darker. Right in here. That's right. That can be darker. This whole area right in back here is a little better. Let's see here. Let's get some nice dark. Let's go to another area right here. Just find a few areas that you know you need a little bit more pop. Because you can't always get everything right on the first try. It'd be nice. It's rare for it to happen. Now you can kind of see stuff pushing back a little bit as I'm going back in and trying to clean up some areas. You can see things starting to push back. I'm like pushing them back a bit. That's right. And there's going to be a good key area right in here. Got nice, strong dark right there. Coming down into that stem. That's really going to help right there. And I'm going to darken that whole area in. Some paint flick off, that's all right. Same thing here where I've got that high contrast area. Let's go ahead and give it some contrast. Pick up that dark there. There we are. Now we're starting to see. Now I'm backing off and looking at it, and I can see just a few areas, here and there, saying, yeah, I can push that back a little further. I'm going to push back first before I try to. I'll pull things up as I paint it in with the oils. I'll pull things forward, but back in here and stuff, it's just good to get your values kind of figured out and kind of straighten out a little bit, so you can really make a difference. That's still going to be pretty strong right there, but down in here this should be darker. That should be darker, and this is a little bit dark here, not too all pure white. And over here, and all that could be a little darker. It's down. All that down here now. This area in here again, it could be a little darker. Put it in there. Okay. And then the edge on that far side could be darker. All this whole edge right here. Darken up a little bit. It's a little strong, a little too bright, a little too much happening there. I don't really want that much happening there. So let's get a big bunch of water, sweep in a big bit, and I'm going to sweep in a big old area right here. I'm just going to sweep it all in. Just let it do what it does with that much color. I don't care. I want that darker. I just don't want all that up in front like that. I'm going to spread it around so it doesn't totally kill, but all that area. But I do want to darken that area in. This area in the bottom can be a little brighter, and that's fine. Now let's go down here. Trying to get some of this. No, this is going to be white right here. Not really. So let's just kind of do that a little bit. Values up. Okay. Let's again catch the edge of some of these leaves. The edge of this leaf has gotten lost, so let's do that. Nice. Kind of clean it up now. There you go. That's all right. There we go. All right. Alrighty then. Well, that's what I got for today. When I come back on Thursday, we're going to color this baby in, and that's when things are really going to start popping on it. It's really going to go to another level once I get it to that day. You'll see as it comes along. Let's see, is that this guy right here? It's not there, so that's something lighter. That comes like that. It's almost a pure shot there. There we go. All right. And I will be seeing you guys on Thursday. I appreciate you joining me today. I think things went a little smoother. I think using my phone is definitely a better way to go than I had before. But not perfect values or anything, but it just shows you can fairly quickly, you can get the representation. This is what we've got. This was the original that we're using right here. And then you look at the value there, and it's not too far off. It's not too bad. Values are pretty good. So when we come back on Thursday, you're going to see this painting really come to life with some color. We're going to have some beautiful, beautiful burgundies, some deep purples. Then we've got these nice, almost soft lilac colors, some beautiful cool greens, and then some warm greens in the stems, and some kind of more of a brighter wine color coming up underneath here. And so it's going to just be really, really pretty the way it all pops off and stuff. And I'm going to look forward to painting it with you. All right, guys. Well, have a great day, and I'll see you on Friday at 4 p.m. Did I say Thursday? It's Friday. It's Tuesdays and Fridays at 4 p.m. Tuesdays is the underpainting. Fridays is the painting. All righty, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.